Rob Star Gang, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Rob Star Report. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Welcome again. Man, Panthers absolute choke job yesterday. We're gonna dive into that. We got a lot to talk about. Got film breakdown. This was just a one missed chance. We got basically one more shot. Season comes down to the finale. Sunday was supposed to be the one. We came into this week 17 matchup against the Seattle Seahawks knowing exactly what was on the line, right? A win um, would have sealed a playoff spot and removed all the scoreboard watching nonsense. And you handle business, you take care of it yourself, and you move on. Instead, we laid an absolute offensively egg. We lost, 27-10. You know what I mean? Like, you know, um, the turning what could have been a celebration into a stress-filled march towards this season finale. This wasn't about effort. It wasn't about getting outclassed. It was just about the mistakes and the missed opportunities in an offense that couldn't generate a damn thing when it mattered. And now everything rides on next week. And the big picture of this whole game, chat, is like defense, you know, gave them a chance and the offense wasted. Let's get this straight early, like as we're going into this. Like the Panthers defense showed up. Mike Jack was everywhere. The front made plays, turnovers were forced. Seattle was kept uncomfortable longer than the second score suggests, right? The offense brutal. Carolina is Carolina's longest play of that entire game was 8 yards, chat. 8 yards. That's no exaggeration. That is the reality of how suffocating and effective this offense was. And Seattle didn't play a perfect game. They just played cleaner football. And we screwed it up, right? And the Seahawks made them pay for it. So we're going to dive more into that. Shout out to Unground West. I don't know why I can't see your comment. Shout out to you. What's up, old school Panthers fan? Appreciate you joining. Air Blair, what's good? Rob Blake, what's good? Appreciate you. Again, appreciate everyone joining the live stream that's in here. Shout out to everybody in the chat already. Appreciate y'all coming through and already showing your love and support to the channel. Yeah, let's dive more into this. Because I was going looking at some of the stats before I came in here. Before we get the show started, and I was looking at some stuff, and there was like some key things I wanted to look at as we go into this. And we'll dive into it as we go into it. But my biggest takeaway from this game, first thing, let's start with the offense. Okay, let's just start with the offense. Offensively, we look completely lost, man. Like this team looked completely lost out there. That's the scariest part of this thing. Um, that they're struggling, and there's looking like you have no clue what the hell you're doing, right? And yes, I get that Seattle's defense is elite, arguably the best probably will face all season. But we didn't just lose individual matchups. We had no counters. We had no rhythm. We had no visible plan to attack what Seattle was taking away, right? And the protection was consistently awful, even though it wasn't as bad as people think. Because, and I'm going to show you a statistic why that's true. Bryce Young wasn't running for his life on every snap, though. Like, people think he was, but here's the thing. We go to the stats. This is next gen stats. Look at the time to throw. This is T to T, time to throw. 2.84 seconds to throw the ball. So Bryce wasn't running for his life every snap. And yet the ball still didn't come out with any urgency or confidence. I mean, Again, time to throw for Bryce Young was 2.84 seconds. So it's not like Bryce was running for his life. And people are like, Clay, what are you talking about? Did you watch the same game I watched? Yeah, I did. Again, this is Bryce. Bryce is going to hear from me today. Dave Canales is going to hear from me today. Bryce was again. The ball was not coming out with any urgency or confidence from Bryce. That's not execution. That's not preparation. That's not design. That's coaching. Part of this is coaching. I have to put, like, your coaches have to put your players in a successful situation. And Dave Canales continuously does not do that. And I've said it time and time again. He doesn't. He doesn't. For long stretches, it felt like Dave Canales was calling plays, hoping something magic just break instead of running concepts meant to actually beat the coverage in front of him. Against a defense like Seattle's, hope is just useless against them. What's up, Antonio? We have to run the ball more, Eric Blair. Yep. What's up, Marcos? But I'm going to be honest with you, chat. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for Bryce Young, man. I'm just not. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for this game. I can't defend him in this point. I can't defend him. I can't. I cannot defend a guy who just threw for 54 yards. There's an ugly truth to this situation. It's a reality check game. This was a reality check game. It was. Bryce Young, the stats, like, this one got so damn ugly. I mean, here's the thing. Bryce Young, for a legitimate month, has been playing strong football. And Bryce Young got bitch slapped back down to earth by this defense. Like, let's just call it what it is. You're coming into week 17, Bryce. You are trending exactly where Carolina needed you to be. He has stacked good performances. He capped it off by earning his highest PFF grade of any quarterback in week 16, and then looked far more comfortable running the offense. And the momentum was real for us. The confidence was real for us. Then the game against Seattle, this Seahawks happens. The offense as a whole was a mess. There's no dodging the uncomfortable truth. Young, like Bryce, didn't just struggle, man. He authored a historically bad statistical day. While context matters a lot, which we'll dive to, but the numbers don't lie. And we're going to break game film down tonight too, chat. Listen, I got it all for you here tonight. So if you want to, go ahead, grab a drink, grab a cocktail, all right? Grab your favorite snack, because we're going to be here for a while. All right? We're going to be here for a while. All right? And don't listen. Don't take, like, all you Bryce people, don't take this as I'm just going to knock on Bryce. I'm not going to just knock on Bryce, but I am going to knock on him for his part of not doing his job. Okay? So the stat line puts you in wrong kind of history book. Like, let's just rip the Band-Aid off here, chat. Bryce Young finished this game 14 of 24, 54 yards, 0 passing touchdowns, an interception, 1 rushing touchdown. That's ugly on its own. Okay? But here's where it crosses into what the hell territory. According to Ian Hartitz, no quarterback has attempted 24 more passes and failed to reach 55 yards since David Woodley did it back in 1980. That's a 45-year drought of incompetence. And it's not exactly company Bryce Young wants to be a part of. This isn't cherry pick nonsense. This is real, rare, historically awful production. So, how did it get this bad? Right? What we're seeing on the screen here. The easy answer is Young was terrible. And yes, he deserves the blame, but that's not the full story. Again, I told you, I'm not going to just give on Bryce Young, but pretending but pretending it is would be lazy as hell. Bryce Young wasn't sharp. Okay, let's just start with what's on him. The interception was bad. That ball was not placed well at all. That was a terrible thrown ball. What's up, Tyrone? Appreciate you joining, man. I see you guys in here. Trizzy, what's good? I see you. I see you guys in the chat getting in here. Appreciate you guys. All right. That interception was bad. Again, it was a terribly placed ball. And Bryce missed a couple of throws yesterday he normally hits. Some decisions also were late. Some reads didn't get finished. This wasn't one of those he played well, but the stats lie games. Like Bryce Young, let's just be honest, chat. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off, like I said. Bryce Young did nothing to elevate this offense. He didn't overcome the mess. What he did was he was a part of the mess. Let's just call it what it is, man. Like, again, the offense did him absolutely no favors, though. Because now let's get into the big picture. Carolina's offensive approach was timid and predictable. Over and over again, receivers were sent deep into coverage heavy looks. When nothing opened up because Seattle's secondary was blanketing everything. Young went through his progressions, but then he would dump the ball off underneath. And guess what? Seattle was sitting on it every single time. Seattle flew downhill. They tackled immediately and erased any chance of yards after the catch. Whether, and again, we're going to go to the all-22 film. And in the all-22 is either going to end up showing separation or not. And the on-field reality was simple. From my standpoint, and some of the clips I've seen on all-22, nothing was open long enough to even matter. Like, this wasn't Young panic checking at the first, hint of pressure. He had time on some plays. That's why you see the time to throw statistic was 2.84 seconds. He worked his reads. Seattle just locked everything down and dared Carolina to beat them, and they couldn't, right? But again, your pass catchers didn't exactly help either in this game. Tetairoa McMillan dropped one of Bryce Young's best throws of the day, a potential momentum play. Granted, I get it, he's sick. But hell, if you're sick, get off the field. I mean, I know T-Mac is our best receiver, but is he really helping us being on the field? If he's sick and he's not really playing at his 100%? I think that's a question that we all got to ask ourselves. What's up, Bees Knees? What's up, NFL the Kid? You know what I mean? Like, Mitchell Evans flat out dribbled a catchable ball instead of securing it. Jalen Coker was interfered with on what could have been a chunk again. But again, we can't have those excuses. But they matter when you're already drowning. Like, when you're playing an elite defense, right? You don't get many clean opportunities, chat. Like, when the few you do get hit the turf, it compounds that problem fast, right? Again, the run game, no chance. I mean, how is your offense supposed to get any rhythm? The fumble by Chuba Hubbard. Let's call it what it is. Who knows what that play would have looked like? Who knows what that drive could have looked like? That could have been a touchdown drive that puts us up 10-3 if he doesn't fumble that ball. But the final nail in the coffin of this game was complete lack of run game. Like Carolina unable to threaten defenses on the ground. Seattle had zero reason to compromise coverage. They sat back, they kept everything in front of them, and they waited for mistakes. That is a nightmare scenario for Bryce Young, especially one whose offense relies on rhythm and timing and manufacturing space. Young was operating with training wheels Sunday. He was riding downhill with no brakes, just no room to turn, man. All right. Like the honest bottom line here is that Bryce Young was bad. The offense was worse. Seattle was really damn good. And everything collapsed at once. This game shouldn't erase the progress Bryce Young has made over the last month. It doesn't suddenly mean he's broken. It does mean that when structure fails, the talent gap shows up fast, right? This team is not built yet to survive that kind of defensive onslaught. Just not. Like this was a historically ugly outing, no doubt about it. It's also one you just flush, you burn the tape, you move the hell on from, because next week still matters. Dwelling on this shit helps nobody. And just pretend it didn't happen. I mean, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. So let's break some film down real quick. And then I'll get back to some of my other takeaways. Okay, chat. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you pound that like button. Share out the live. E-Money, what's good? Appreciate you coming through. T Thompson, I see you in the chat, man. What's good? What's good, my guy? Anyways, let's break some of this game film down real quick. All right. So again, the first drive told us everything you need to know. Sometimes a game lies to you early, like this one didn't. Like after Rico Dowdle rips off, and this is like right after he rips off an encouraging 11-yard run to open up the game, right? Carolina lined up in 13 personnel against a too high shell that rotated in a cover one look here, okay? So the concept is that this is going to be a strong side dig and a clean rhythm throw for Bryce Young, and technically it was there. But again, here is Xavier Legette actually, wide receiver Xavier Legette actually attacked the leverage. He created a throwing window, which is he's down here, as you can see. You're going to see that. So watch this. You're going to watch this concept again. So the concept here is a strong side stick dig. There's XL's here. All right. But let's watch it again. Let's bring it back. So again, watch XL. He's gonna try to attack. He's actually attacking the leverage here. He created a throwing window, actually. Seattle is only rushing 4 here. That's where the play in the afternoon went to hell. So Byron Murphy, okay, exploded off the stat, which Byron Murphy is right here. Okay. Blowing up the interior, putting Kate May straight into Bryce Young's lap, somewhere around right here. And then Nuwasu, who I think he's right here. No, Nuwasu's down here. Sorry. Nuwasu's down here. I can't read the names. I think he's either here or here. I got to watch this play. But he beats Ike Ekwonu off the edge. Taylor Moton over here, though, gets lost out of containment. So Bryce Young has no chance to recept. He just going to dump the ball off to Rico Dowdle. And that was the theme for the next 3 hours. Pressure without coverage sacrifice. So watch this play again. You're going to see XL create leverage, but you're going to see this offensive line get absolutely cooked. Watch K Mays get just absolutely bombarded. And then you watch it and just watch it here. Let's just watch it in a slower pace. Coker motions up at the top. Safety comes in. There's leverage right here. Now, Bryce could have even gone here. He could have just hit Tommy Tremble. Coker looks like he's about to make a move out here. Bryce isn't looking that way because I'm pretty sure XL is the first read here. But XL is working that leverage. Okay. He's working that leverage. But Bryce, instead of throwing the check down here, he could have hit Tommy Tremble. He probably could have stepped up here maybe in the pocket. Let me see. Could he stepped up into that pocket right here? Probably not, because Byron Murphy would have got him. So no, he couldn't have stepped up there. But you got Tremble here. This is a bad check down because you can see the corner is already reading it. You can already see that the corner is reading it. And then that's the end of that. So, again, Bryce Young on that play had no chance to reset, and he just dumps the ball to Dowdle. And that was the theme for the next 3 hours. Pressure without sacrifice. All right? Pressure without sacrifice. All right, let's bring out the next clip. Sorry, I'm bringing up clips. All right, so we're going to bring out the next clip. Actually, I got to get that Falcons game on. Tyrone, I'm glad you reminded me in the chat there. We got to put this on real quick. I need to see what's going on with this game. It's crazy to think that we need Atlanta to win out to help us. It's crazy to think that. It's absolutely nuts. Is it on the Falcons game? Yeah, all right, I got it. All right. All right, there we go. All right, let's get into the next play here. So, pressure. This is what I call pressure plus timing issues. Dead on arrival. So, on this very next snap, this is 2nd and 12. Basically, Seattle's going to simulate pressure here. And you're going to watch linebacker Ernest Jones, which I think he is right here. Pretty sure Ernest Jones right here. Or no, I think. Let me see. Let me watch the play. Because he's going to get the B gap. Yeah. There's Ernest Jones. DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence comes back over here into a hook curl coverage. And either Austin Corbett didn't see Jones or he knew he couldn't get there. Either way, Bryce Young felt the pressure here. Now, T-Max right here, technically, he wins this as this plays out. He won early at the top of his route, but he struggled against press coverage from Josh Jobe, and the timing was already wrecked by pressure. So Bryce Young had to throw early. They didn't plan. Rhythm gone. And then the play is dead, right? That wasn't a one-off. I mean, that was the blueprint Seattle followed all game. Watch this again. It's just crazy. Ernest Jones right there. They're double cover. It looks like what's happening is Corbett right here at the right guard is helping Cade Mays. They're triple. I mean, these guys are triple covering. The offensive line here is literally triple covering Byron Murphy. If you watch this, he ends up with 3 guys. The Rams win tonight, it would break the NFL record for most wins through 16 games by the top 3 teams from the same division with a 37-11 combined records. That's wild. Of course, we want them to fail. Said Joust. What's up, Zach? Falcons might luck up and win, and we'll see. I miss Robert Hunt. I do too. All right, let me get my next clip up. Now, here's another one. All right, here's another one. Okay. I get that. So, Bryce Young's stat line, we just talked about it, is ugly, but it's not the full story again. Bryce Young absolutely deserves criticism, okay? Especially the interception thrown behind Tether McMillan in the half. He also misses Bryson Tremaine leaked into the flat on a 3rd and 12 early, likely because his eyes was locked onto Jalen Coker on the near side concept. But here's the part that gets lost in the hot takes. Seattle sped up Young's internal clock relentlessly. See what happens is Bryce prides himself on working through progressions, right? Seattle didn't let him. Like he bailed early. Okay? And not out of panic, it was because staying put meant getting crushed. So the worst play came down to 7 points on 3rd and short. Basically, Seattle's going to disguise man that they're going to rotate into a cover 3 on this play here with a 2-man concept involving Coker and Mitchell Evans. So from the broadcast angle, it looks like McMillan either wasn't anticipating the ball or was lazy out of his break. So either way, Julian Love sat on that flat and makes this interception. Bryce, though, has to throw this ball better. He also has to see Julian Love, and McMillan has to get his head around sooner. So that's a shared blame. All right. That's not a quarterback meltdown. Like, this is why we've got film, man. Like, we're going to go back and watch this. Like, context matters. This is why you come here to the Rob Star Report, because I give you the real shit. Okay? Unlike these other people, they don't break this down for you. They just say Bryce Young stinks or this and that and the other. There's no context behind it. They just go based off the stats. All right? Not saying that any other YouTubers are bad, but there are some of them out there that don't give you the full context. Let's just call it what it is. All right. I'm not sticking up for Bryce Young or anything in this. Like I'm saying, this is legit film breakdown. All right. So watch it again. Let's watch it again. So this is where we're 3rd and short. Seattle is disguising man here. They're going to watch. They're going to rotate into a cover 3 with a 2-man concept involving Mitchell Evans and Jalen Coker. Again, you got to see, watch this. Slow it down real quick. Mitchell Evans down here. Jalen Coker's over here. And this two-man concept, as you can see, is involving Mitchell Evans. So the broadcast angle looks like McMillan on this play up here, right here. McMillan either wasn't anticipating the ball or was lazy out of his break. Let's see. Kind of a little bit laziness there. I mean, I don't like the, I mean, even let's see if we speed it up. It don't look like he's really going. Let me see. Kind of laziness, but then his break there is when he speeds up. But you know what? If I'm Bryce Young, I'm trying to see where I go with this ball. I'm trying to see where I go with this ball. I mean, on this play, again, Bryce Young has to throw the ball better. He also needs to see Love coming in down into that flat, sat on the flat, right? McMillan just needs to get his head around sooner. I want to see if there's anybody else that Bryce, if he doesn't see T-Mac here. Honestly, you could either hit Mitchell Evans here or you just take the check down over to Chuba. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Hi, Kitty 17. Good evening. Hope all is well. Oh, she did. She definitely did. She definitely did. Again, it's a great defensive concept right there. Again, Seattle disguised that defensive play into they disguised man that they rotated into a cover 3. They got a two-man concept down there with Mitchell Evans and Jalen Coker. Let me see if they if this. Yeah. All right. I was just trying to see if it goes to a different angle. Either way, Julian sat on that flat, man. I like some motion by. I like the motion by Jimmy Horn. We got to get him involved more, man. We got to get him involved more. Bryce Young has to throw the ball better though in this play, and he also needs to see Julian Love. Like McMillan has to get his head around sooner. Yeah, I mean it's a shared blame on that. I mean, listen, man. At the end of the day, chat. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Like they put on a McDonald put a defensive clinic on, man. And shout out to my boy Duncan of Unnecessary Bluntness. He put this tweet out. I thought that was interesting, chat. I'm gonna share it real quick. Yeah, Falcons touchdown. I saw that. Puts this interesting tweet out. Per next gen stats, it had a time to pressure of 2.6 seconds, second fastest mark in the league. This week, only behind Minnesota. They only had a blitz of 13.3%, third lowest in the NFL this week. You got to give credit where credit's due, man. Mike McDaniel absolutely cooked. His defense disguised rushes beautifully. He mixed in simulated pressure with 4-man rushes. He played 2 high man with double mugging A gaps and just won consistently without blitzing. And Seattle's front beat Carolina's offensive line with 4 over and over again. And it's crazy to think, like, even though this next gen stats, but you go look at next gen stats and you go look at how much time Bryce Young had to throw, he had more time to throw, according to next gen stats, than Sam Darnold did. That's where the uncomfortable truth is crazy to me. Like, this is the first time all season I've seen this line look genuinely overmatched and not just sloppily. Like, that actually speaks to how good Seattle is. And oddly, and here's the thing, man. Like, oddly enough, how solid a job an offensive line Joe Gilbert has done holding things together, though. Constant lineup change. This was just a different class of a defense, chat. It just was. All right. All right. But again, another thing is true. I gotta call it how I see it too, though, chat. I gotta call it how I see it too. Let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find something I was looking for. Anyways, I was looking for something. But again, Dave Canales deserves some of the blame in this game, man. Like, he does. He does. He deserves some of this blame too. Like, that's he deserves some heat. Like, we did not start generating movement in the run game. All we did was we continued to run these inside zone runs. We kept running these slams. We kept running these dive concepts. And then they walked away from it. Like, Dave Canales never fully commits to grinding these things out. A slow physical series might have kept Seattle honest. Rotating Trevor Etienne could have changed the tempo. I was even asking for that. Instead, the plan stayed inconsistent. Quick game, open briefly against zone. Seattle had tightened up that spacing. That's what elite defenses do. And Canales did not counter. He did not make any adjustments. I don't even know if he had anything to make adjustments to this defense. All right. Like, this is the core issue. This offense relies heavily on the run to open up long developing pass concepts. That's what this team does. That is Dave Canales' play calling. When defenses shut that down, there aren't many built-in man beaters. Because then separation has to be manufactured. And it wasn't. Like, we've seen this movie before. You know who we've seen this against? Saints twice, 49ers, the Cardinals, the Jaguars. When the defense has answers, Canales struggles to pivot, man. Let's just call it what it is. Let's just call it what it is. He does. He struggles. I've been saying that. You know, I had people asking me yesterday, like, why isn't Jimmy Horn Jr. being used more? Well, here's the thing. Jimmy Horn Jr., he actually was part of the plan early in the game. And then on the second series, he was a primary deep option, but Seattle played too high man coverage on McMillan and then completely blanketing Horn and forcing the check down. You know? And then people were like, well, did the Jadavion Sanders injury, hurt us? Yes, but I would say that's not an excuse. I think Jadavion Sanders being out, Carolina leaned heavier into jumbo looks using lineman Jake Curhan. That limited motion shifts and creativity in the run game, areas where Sanders is especially valuable. But again, people were asking, like, were the wide receivers getting open? We just watched film. Not really. I mean, one guy, it seems like the video and clips we've watched, it's like maybe one guy might be open. But there was just heavy man coverage. There was tight leverage. There was a high pressure rate. Even though Bryce Young, again's time to throw was 2.84 seconds. Sam Darnold's time to throw was 2.82. That defensive combo just forced Bryce Young to speed everything up. Even when the windows appeared, they closed fast. Right? This wasn't just about a quarterback problem. It wasn't just a play calling problem. It wasn't just a talent problem. It was all the above. Hitting the same time against a elite defense that did not miss. Seattle had answers for almost everything, and Dave Canales did not adjust fast enough, and he couldn't. And our offensive line got cracked. Our skilled talent couldn't create separation consistently, and the quarterback had no margin for error and could not elevate this team at all. And that's how you end up with 139 yards and a season. Suddenly you got to be hanging in the thread. You're hoping Atlanta beats the Rams, and then you got to go up against the Bucks on a short week. At that, we got to play the Bucks Saturday, 4:30. I mean, this team you don't get a mulligan, right? You don't. This is one chance. You don't get a mulligan. But again, and if people don't, and here's another thing, I'll say another thing about the play calling. The play calling was flat out bad. And if you don't believe me, here, I'll remind you of something. This is just one play that I know everybody will remember from the game, and deservingly so. 4th and 17, you got the game on the line, you run a short crossing route. Again, that's not aggressive, man. That's not creative. That's not even remotely realistic. Yes, Seattle brought pressure, but there was no vertical concept. There was no laid route. Like, no attempt to threaten the sticks. That call, to me alone, perfectly summarized the afternoon. It was conservative, it was predictable, and completely disconnecting from the situation. Again, Dave Canales sometimes, I don't think, understands situational football, or he contradicts himself, or he overthinks, or he panics. And then he coaches scared. Situational football matters, and Canales failed at it all day. 3rd and long, 4th and desperate. I mean, we were 1 for 11 for third downs, chat, but we were 2 for 3 on 4th. Couldn't score in the red zone. Backed up. You don't get gimmicks. You need answers. The Panthers didn't have any. And I just think Dave Canales has to own this game. He has to own this one. Again, this is not just about Bryce Young failing and other players failing. Dave Canales got outmaneuvered. Again, Seattle's defense is being elite doesn't excuse the lack of identity, the commitment, or the adjustment of this offense. Canales never leaned fully into a style. Again, the plan felt sacred. Are not sacred. The word I'm looking for is, scattered. Like my brain right now. It was conservative early. It was desperate late. There was no cohesive. Again, against a Seattle defense that half measures gets you killed. Here's the uncomfortable truth about Dave Canales, though. Canales isn't giving up play calling anytime soon. He's also not likely to bring in a high-level offensive coordinator and move into a CEO role in the near future. If this is the path that Canales has to evolve fast, because if this is the path, Canales has to evolve. and it has to be quick because you're hoping Bryce Young saves us is not a sustainable offensive philosophy heading into 2026. I can just tell you that. I could just tell you that. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor. Make sure you pound that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. All right, let's scroll down real quick. I want to get into this defense real quick. Of the Panthers. Defensively, man. Defensively, what can I say? The defense did its damn job. Again, like lost in this offensive mess was a real positive. There was, even though there was a real positive. I gotta say it. Like the defense showed up. Carolina did exactly what you're supposed to do against Sam Darnold. They collapsed the pocket. They earned sacks. They forced him to speed up his clock. They didn't force catastrophic mistakes, but they kept Seattle from running away early, and that matters. I mean, under Ejiro Evero, the defense held Seattle's passing game to a net of 125. I mean, it was 147, but I think the net on that's like, well, maybe it is 147 net. But either way, you forced two takeaways, right? You recorded 3 sacks in the game. You kept the game competitive into the fourth quarter. I mean, Derek Brown, Nick Scorton consistently were collapsing that pocket, right? Mike Jack had a hell of a day against his former team. He finished with 11 tackles total on the day. 8 tackles of his own, 3 assisted, and he had an interception. If this felt familiar, that's because it was. Like this looked a lot like a 2023 defense doing a damn near everything right while the offense dragged them into the mud. But whether Ejiro Evero is back next year is a conversation for later. But for now, this unit deserved so much better. I mean, it did. It deserves so much better. What's up, Antonio? Appreciate you joining, man. All right. Appreciate you joining. And then another thing with this, like, again, the problem with this team, though, too, in this game, the turnovers were just, again, we continue to just shoot ourselves in the foot. The turnovers against Seattle are understandable. Like the defense eats quarterbacks alive. But how Carolina turned the ball over was the real problem. The interception in your own half. Again, every turnover was in our territory. Again, it was on our side of the field when Bryce throws that pick. Bad. Fumble the very next offensive snap after your defense intercepts the ball in the end zone. Chuba Hubbard, absolutely brutal. Those aren't great those aren't great defensive made a play, right? Those aren't great defense made a play turnovers. Those are the self-inflicted wounds that the kind that exhaust your defense, and that's when you get buried, right? Against an elite team, you might survive one. You sure as hell won't survive both. Okay. But again, we just watched it. We just watched the film. Like another thing is like these pass catchers were basically invisible, man. Like this has to be said plainly. Our pass catchers in this game were not good. They just weren't. They were not good. They were just not good in this game. I'm trying to see if I can find here. Let me see if I can find separation on these guys. That's target separation. That's not the same thing that I'm looking for. But again, you look at the receiving EPA, that tells me all I need to know. Again, these guys just these guys struggled to create separation. They struggled against press. They struggled against zone. When the opportunities did appear, the drops killed what little momentum existed. Again, this game was not all on Bryce, but it wasn't all on the receivers either. It was a shared failure in this game, man. It was a team failure. Right? You cannot beat a defense like Seattle when nobody's consistently gets open. The routes are smothered, the timing is off, the contested catches aren't being won. Again, if you want this pass game to be functional and especially in these high stake games, that group has to be better. Period. Right? Um Again, chat, this is what I got to say. The loss doesn't end our season, right? Like it just made it harder than it needed to be, right? We're for the 10th straight week, Carolina has alternated a win with a loss. One step forward, one step back, right? Consistent is the most frustrating way possible. We are consistently inconsistent. They ran into a Super Bowl caliber team and were reminded how thin the margin is in the NFL. Like Bryce Young wasn't good, but he wasn't hopeless. Like Canales wasn't prepared enough either, though. That's becoming a real concern. And here's the thing. Our defense, I still think, played its ass off and deserved better. Now it's simple. You either win next week or you're in, right? You lose and you've got nobody to blame but yourselves. Everything still matters. Everything still counts. And next week, there's no room left for this kind of ugly ass football, right? Because effort alone doesn't mean shit if you don't have answers. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Falcons, man, look at this. Oh, Algier making a move. Second quarter, and the Falcons are up 7-0. I mean, is the Falcons going to have to do our job for us? I mean, my goodness. Is the Falcons going to have to do our job for us, chat? Right? All right, let's move on to the last thing, and this is not really it's not really what I want to get into, but we might have to. Oh, Jaycee Horn. Jaycee Horn. Where's he at? We need to have a conversation, man. I know he's a Pro Bowler. I know that he is a very good football player. And I do believe in him. But we got to have this conversation, bro. This game, here's the thing. Context matters, man. Like the game was hanging by a thread. So let's establish the reality before again, I start blaming and I start getting into Jaycee Horn. We know we didn't play well offensively. That's obvious. We knew, okay? We've already talked about that. All right. That's the main reason why we lost this game. But defensively, and again, that was the positive. But Horn in particular had kept them alive long enough for one final swing. Midway through the fourth quarter, we are trailing 17-10. Momentum had finally flipped. Bryce Young just scored. The crowd was alive. Seattle's backed up at 3rd and 21. That's the moment the defense dream about, and then the wheels come off. That face mask killed the game. Seattle called a safe screen to net JSN. It was going nowhere, and Horn forced him toward the sideline. All Jaycee Horn had to do was push him out of bounds, and help was arriving. JSN still had 18 yards to go, but all Horn had to do was push him out of bounds, let him go, or just tackle him cleanly. Instead, he tried to be a hero once again. These guys continue to make these bonehead mistakes and try to be a hero because Jaycee Horn went for the strip and he caught JSN by the face mask and then instantly erased the stop and flag down, automatic first down. That single mistake alone extended that drive, drained the clock, killed all the momentum, and led to a Seahawks field goal. It turned a one-score game into a two-score game under 6 minutes left. So in real terms, that penalty didn't just hurt. It ended the game. Here's the brutal part. Even if JSN had fumbled, that ball was going out of bounds. Best case scenario was a punt. So there was zero upside and maximum downside. Again, that's the kind of mental error that haunts teams. Like, look, let's go look at the play. We'll go find it real quick. Hold on. I got you. Go film room. We got film, bro. We got film. We got film. All right. We're in the fourth quarter. Right here. And you can watch it from both angles, bro. Here's Jaycee Horn right here. All you got to do is force him out of bounds, bro. Look, force him out of bounds. Push him. Push him. Watch it from this angle. God damn. Like that's just a boneheaded mistake. I'm not T Thompson. Nobody's sitting here saying that Jaycee Horn lost us the game. I'm talking about boneheaded mistakes that don't need to be happening in these types of game situations, bro. If people in the chat are saying that, that's fine. That's on them. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in these game situations, you can't have this kind of shit. But this penalty did end the game. If we're being honest, it didn't lose us the game, but it ended the game. It ended it because that single mistake alone extended the drive. It killed the momentum. It drained the clock. It led to Seattle kicking a field goal. It turned a one-score game into a two-score game with under 6 minutes left in the game. It didn't lose us the game, but it ended the game. There's a difference. Two different things. You cannot have those type of mental errors. Again, even if JSN fumbles that ball because he goes for the strip, that ball is going out of bounds, bro. And the best case scenario was a punt. And there was zero upside and maximum downside. Another thing like Jaycee Horn did. Another one. Like the very first, let's go to it here. This play right here. This is a missed opportunity by Jaycee Horn, I'm pretty sure. This is the first offensive play. Watch that again. Like Sam Darnold threw this pass, got tipped at the line. Got tipped at the line. The ball was floating, wobbling. It was begging to be intercepted. And it landed right in his lap, and he dropped it. If Horn makes that catch, that's Carolina takes over near the end zone. They take over near the end zone, man. The momentum flips immediately, and that's the very real chance he returns it, or it's a very real chance he returns it for a touchdown. The entire game script changes, right? Instead, the ball hit the turf, and Seattle survived, and we just lost a gift there. Like that play didn't lose the game by itself, but it paired with a face mask. It does tell a story, right? Like here's the thing. All I'm saying at the end of the day, chat, with this and with Jaycee Horn, all right. And I'm not saying like, all right. All I'm saying though, with this whole thing with JC that I'm getting at here is that fair or not, this is how seasons get remembered. Let's be clear. This has been Jaycee Horn's career year for Jaycee Horn. He has been the best defender. He earned a Pro Bowl recognition for sure. He locked down elite receivers when he was on them all season. But see, people don't realize that the NFL doesn't grade you on vibes, it grades on moments. These were two biggest moments of the game. The dropped interception could have flipped everything early. A complete unnecessary penalty slammed the door shut late. That's why this hurts so much. Right? We didn't just lose a game. We lost control of the NFC South because of this loss. Tampa Bay's early loss no longer mattered. Carolina could have clinched the division at home. Now, they have to go on the road against Tampa. Win or go home situation. That's a hell of a different reality. All right. I'm not sitting here saying Jaycee Horn single-handedly ruined the season. The offense put us in the position where everything had to be perfect. That's a never safe place to live. But when the window finally cracked open, Jaycee Horn slammed it shut himself. That's just the cruel reality of what the situation. One lapse, one bad decision, 1 second of trying to do too much. But we have to live with it. And we have to go earn the division the hard way. So, again. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Wow. The Dirty Birds. The Dirty Birds are doing their thing, man. Wow, Jesse Bates. All right, chat. Well, Again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on new content. All right. I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys on NFC South Roundtable tomorrow night, 8 p.m. EST. Make sure you're there. All right. And then also I will see you guys Wednesday. All right. I will see you guys Wednesday. Make sure you tune in. All right. Other than that, guys, as always, make sure you pound that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. I'm going to watch some of this Atlanta game, and I'm going to get some TikToks done and shorts done for you guys. So make sure you guys come and check it out. All right, guys, I will see you on the other side as always. I'm out. Peace. Keep pounded.